Hi guys, so I've got another video for you today. I'll try and be quick. So on TradingView, we didn't actually have any trades that I had taken, but on the 8th, which is here, you can see that I've got all my markings. That was on the 7th, that was on the 8th. So on the 8th we had this move which I showed that I'd taken the trade on TradingView and also on my account. But if I come across and if this is the 8th, we'll go into the 9th, which is yesterday. Again, on the 9th I managed to get into a trade, but I didn't actually do it on TradingView, I did it on my account. So you can see here, we came down, we broke structure, we had a fair value gap, we came back down here, we tested it. This is 7 o'clock here on the 9th. So on here, at this point, I'm thinking we've broke the lows prior, we've come to a fair value gap and we're respecting it quite nicely. So at 7, if I see a move going upwards, taking out this high, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take a trade on there. So when 7 o'clock hit, at the very start of 7 o'clock, we started to push up. Now the break of structure was here for me that I seen, or this double high. So when this broke up, when this candle closed, at the bottom of this candle is where I entered, right here on this candle. Stop loss was below here. You can see went up, came down, fell down this fair value gap. First TP was here, and then second close of trade was right here underneath the 15-minute fair value gap. So the 15-minute fair value gap closed there. You can see it bounced nicely. Came in here again for the fair value gap, made a double top, came down, and then decided to continue up and break the high up here. And what happened is on the 15-minute time frame, we had a fair value gap here. Problem that I had was I could not enter in here because it was not within my time frame. This is 5, so it reached into this area at 10 to 11, and that is not where my window is for a setup. Is between, so right here is where my setup stopped. So after 10 I could not get in because my setup is between 7 and 10, so therefore I would have never caught this move. And even if I look at it out width of my time frame, which is 7 and 10, there was no setup for me. I could not see the setup for this. So it continued to break down, consolidated for the PM session on Thursday, and then today I didn't trade because there was no setup for me to trade today. So you can see on the 10th we came up, broke down, London session came down, started to go up a little bit, and then on the time frame that we had a 15-minute fair value gap here. You can see that we came and tested it within our time frame, but because the fair value gap was out width of my 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock setup, I needed that fair value gap or break of structure to happen here so that I could enter. But that was not given to me. I could not enter. I'll explain why I couldn't enter, because if I look at the 15-minute and I'll scroll here, you can see there is the move. We break this low, there's a fair value gap, we come back into it. But if I go into the 5-minute, there was no entry for me. So you can see we had this huge breakdown. Now you could say you could have entered here. My problem with entering here is if I take the fib from here to the low, 50% of this move is at least here, or around about here. So in order for me to sell it, I would have to be above 50%, which is here, which would be a premium, and then I would be able to sell it. The fact that I came up here and filled this in, I couldn't actually get in because, again, it did not get up to into a premium. Now, you know, you might say, well, why didn't you go to the 3 minute? Same scenario in the 3 minute. We had this big push down. We've got this fair value gap. We didn't have any entry at all today, even within the actual. Now this is where news happened. So even within the fair value gap, I had zero break of structure to let me know that I was going to continue to sell, and this was the news candle, so therefore I couldn't enter. Now even if we go down to the minimum, which is the 1 minute time frame, again, you know, if you see something, put it in the comments. But even with this move right here, fair value gap here, fair value gap here, nothing up here, and then you could say that there's a fair value gap here. But again, if I take the fib from here to here, because this is where the move originated, it started from here and it continued down. 50% is here. I would have at least wanted it to come up to here and above so that I could get in, because then it would be a premium. But that didn't happen, and you can see that came in, tagged this fair value gap, didn't push up, and continued to break down. Now, another thing is, apart from that move, I'm currently having a look to see, did we have a break of structure anywhere? And I can't see none. I can't see no fair value gaps for break of structure. Well, actually, you might argue to say that that low got broken there, and that was a fair value gap, and you could have entered here. Possibly. I'm still. You could say that that was a entry, but I liked this move a lot more, which meant that I was waiting for something to happen so that I could come up and then continue selling. So if I had entered here, let's say, just for example purposes, let's say we entered. Where did that fair value gap go? There. So let's say there it's there. We had this break of structure. Entered here. Entered here. We had 7 pip drawdown, and we had 95 pips. So it would have been a decent trade, but I couldn't see. I couldn't see this fair value gap. Looking in hindsight, it's a lot easier, but I just wouldn't have seen this fair value gap, because when I look at my time frame, which is the 3 minute, that is where I get in all my moves, and I look at all the structures that that happen within the market. Even here, I did not have a break of structure. So there's that move right there. We have no low broken. Now you could argue that this low got broken by this. We had a fair value gap here, but again, this push down didn't demolish this move. Like, for example, this move right here took out this low with aggressive force, aggression. There was aggression in this move, but here we pretty much just peaked above it, so I wouldn't have thought that that would have been an entry. If I go into quickly the daily chart, what we have at the daily chart is, like I mentioned in the previous video, we had 2 relative highs, and then on Thursday we peaked above that, taking the buy stops, and then we've reversed. So what we've done now is that we have filled in this fair value gap. We've got a fair value gap here, we've got another fair value gap here, and we've got a tiny fair value gap here. Now, if we look at the weekly, just very, very quickly, we've had this bounce, we've got this fair value gap, so we've got between 162,900 and let's call that 161 on the dot. So if I go into my daily, then mark that out, so 162,900 is around about there. So the fair value gap that I see would be here or here. So I wouldn't even try and buy here. I don't think there would be. Now hopefully it comes down. If it comes down, consolidates, goes up, breaks down, comes back, and then if that happens, then my bias for GBPJPY will change. I will be bearish. But as of right now, we've taken out the buy stops, and we're currently going for these fair value gaps. If I see some sort of change in structure, then I'll be bearish. But if it gets here, I'll be bullish. If it gets here, I'll still be bullish. My only bias, the only thing that will change my bias will be if we consolidate, we go up, we have a fair value gap here, we aggressively break down, breaking a low, and then we can have a fair value gap, and then we tag it, then I'll know that we have officially changed bias, and we now will be bearish for GBPJPY. So that was the trades that I'd taken, what I'd seen. Please like, subscribe and comment, and if I have a trade on Monday, I will upload another video and I will speak to you soon.